Personnel is the key to maintaining the high standard of police protection established in Los Angeles. The right combination of mental and physical proficiency, psychological maturity, and professional integrity is found in every 25th man. This man is the symbol of the finest police officer in the world. He protects an area 2.5 times greater than of any officer in any other metropolitan city. A cross-section shows for the average this man should be 28 years old, 5 feet 10 inches tall, married, an IQ of over 110, with 1 or more years of college, and imbued with the desire to serve his community. 5 years ago, he took the civil service written exam for the department, along with approximately 4,000 other applicants that year between the ages of 19 and 31. This exam discovers an applicant's basic knowledge. He then took the civil service physical agility test with the remaining 1,700 applicants. Standards for this phase have been established over a period of years. Approximately 1,100 completed this phase and returned to take the civil service oral examination. Candidates are evaluated on the basis of their background, personal appearance, and ability to discuss questions presented by oral board raters, who are non-paid volunteer civilians. This officer and 870 other candidates were given the medical examination by the receiving hospital. This phase determines a man's physical fitness within limitations established by civil service regulations, rigid standards due to the constitutional demands placed on an officer. 338 moved next to the psychiatric examination, which weeds out those with traits undesirable in law enforcement activities. Emotionally unstable and overly aggressive candidates are disqualified. 305 remaining candidates were investigated for confirmation of the man's past record to establish his ability to associate and work with individuals. Our officer had now met the mental, physical, and background requirements. He had become one of the select few anticipating 12 weeks of intensive training. The Police Academy in Elysian Park graduates 4 cadet classes a year. The academy was started 35 years ago, and every police officer must go through and graduate before being assigned to regular police duties. Classes are conducted 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, except for periodic weekend and night assignments. This totals 531 hours in 113 different subjects.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Ethics, one of the subjects within the 12 hours of social relations, defines police ethics as related to the individual, the department, and to police work as a profession.
Okay, let's have your attention. Topic today is ethics. As you know, the department's reputation, strength, value to the community naturally built on the caliber of the men in it. One of the important characteristic foundations necessary to fulfill this obligation is our ethical character. We must have a strong ethical approach to police work and, in fact, our life in general.
One of the classes within the 66 hours of patrol functions is interrogation. This concerns the questioning of victims, witnesses, suspects, and prisoners, how to locate witnesses, manner of questioning, and sequence of questions. In this same section, the cadet is taught the use of the officer's notebook. Also in the category of patrol functions is instruction, partially by film, in first aid. How to stop severe bleeding, artificial respiration, and assisting in childbirth are some of the subjects covered. Patrol tactics defines for the recruit the basic functions of patrol, preparation for patrol, required field equipment, techniques of foot and motorized patrol, and how to handle standard operation procedure, common types of calls answered by radio cars, proper reporting, and the importance of observation. A class called Detective Functions is comprised of 5 segments. One of these is fingerprints. Now here, the recruit receives a brief historical background and is taught the functions of the Henry system. The procedure in rolling prints and where and how to obtain latent prints at crime scenes are part of the 4 hours spent in this subject.
Now, these are the drugs that you'll commonly find in the city of Los Angeles. Over here we have the misdemeanor drugs, the amphetamine, commonly known as the benzodrine or Benny, and the sedative drugs, the Nembutal and Secondol. This is the felony type of drug over here, starting with the simple capsule of heroin and the marijuana section, the 2 cigarettes of marijuana, and finally the seeds of the plant, cannabis sativa, commonly known as marijuana.
Within detective functions is narcotics, a discussion of problem drugs, how to locate and identify drugs, effects on users, and identification of addicts. Recruits are taught a class called Technical and Staff Services. One phase is use of police records and describes the use of the Police Record and Identification Division, its sections and duties, and their value to the officer and the department. Physical activities totals 100 hours of instruction. Under shooting, the recruit will learn procedures employed by the police department, laws governing the use of firearms, and responsible handling of various types of guns.
Remember what we told you about leaning forward? The reason you lean forward, if you do get hit during combat, will not knock you off balance. Just lean forward does not knock you off balance. Step forward into it. That's better.
Self-defense procedures are taught by officers on the field and is necessary for the protection of the officer and others when confronted by criminals.
All right, today we're going to go into the police hold. This is to be used on an aggressive opponent. Starting from position of interrogation, on 1, you'll check his right hand with your left hand. On 2, with your right hand, reach over behind his bicep, start breaking his elbow, bringing your bar up and in. On 3, lock his elbow down under your wrist. On 4, you complete the hold by locking his face, bringing your arm across, bringing him up under control. Any questions?
Within the physical activities group is the class drill. It develops military bearing and explains its importance to a police officer. Traffic Functions has 33 hours devoted to making the new officer capable in any traffic situation. Accident Investigation Procedures is one of the 15 classes in this section. Handling the accident scene, determining injuries, Assisting the injured and protecting damaged cars is an important part of this class. With instruction in sobriety tests, checking roadway for physical evidence, and taking of photographs, the recruit becomes capable of handling traffic accidents. Special events class explains the importance of planning for all special events and the necessity of adhering to plan. With the help of still photos, it explains the proper dispersal of officers, proper method of handling crowds.
I am Sergeant Sherman, officer in charge of the Special Events Planning Section of the Traffic Services Division of the Los Angeles Police Department. My job is to plan the policing of all non-emergency type special events. If the plans are followed as written, your detail will be able to accomplish what is planned for: the protection of the public, the inconveniencing of the least number of people, the least amount, and seeing that good public relations is carried out and that everyone attending a special event has an ample opportunity to view the event on a first-come, first-served basis.
Field trips are made to the main jail, Central Receiving Hospital, Police Building, Scientific Investigation Division, Photo Laboratory, Statistician's Office, and Communications. Driver testing is one of a class of 3 making up the field trip assignment and problems section, which orientates the recruits to police facilities. This is only a small fraction of the expertly planned curriculum, preparing the recruit for his position in the police department and in the community. The important day, climaxing 3 months of preparation, is graduation, and proves from application to diploma is every 25th man. Graduation opens the way for these men to develop and advance in many of the various divisions. After 9 months of probation, he will be considered a regular police officer. These young officers will become part of a great organization which each year answers approximately 2,200,000 calls for service, locates approximately 3,000 missing children, polices over 500 major special events, transmits nearly 2,000 SIG alerts. The 14 patrol divisions cover 456 square miles. This is larger than the combined area of Philadelphia, St. Louis, San Francisco, Boston, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Washington, D.C. The increase of population averages 5,000 persons per month and makes Los Angeles the 3rd largest city in the nation. Combined with confusing jurisdictional boundaries, a port of entry, the proximity to a foreign country, heavy tourist influx, and the greatest number of vehicles of any city in the entire United States, makes policing Los Angeles a tremendous responsibility. To facilitate interchangeability of personnel, each of the 14 patrol divisions is a duplicate of each other. New officers will either walk or ride a beat. 52%, or 2,383 of police personnel, are assigned patrol, the backbone of the department. Protecting property, estimated at $4.5 billion, requires constant vigilance. It is one of the traditional tasks performed by the Patrol Bureau. Other duties consist of crime prevention by means of a 24-hour uniform patrol and providing advice and information. One other feature is juvenile delinquency control. Over 60 separate gangs are classified in the files of the department's gang activity section. Names, addresses, car description, photographs are recorded for each known member. A file contains statements and interviews as to why each conflict occurs. This is a fragment of the service an officer on patrol performs. He knows repressing crime and apprehending criminals through alert observation is his primary responsibility. After the first year of probation and during his first 3 years of service, an officer will be assigned to one of these bureaus: patrol, traffic, or the Bureau of Correction. Specialized assignments are made after 3 years of service and based on education, aptitude, and ability. The Traffic Bureau is the third largest of the departments. It has a parking and intersection control division, a traffic enforcement division which enforces the rules of the road, and an accident investigation division which assists victims of traffic accidents and gathers information to determine if any criminal prosecutions are warranted. The Traffic Service Division analyzes causes and locations of accidents in order that enforcement efforts can be directed where most needed. Nearly 600,000 moving violations and a like number of non-moving violations are cited in an effort to eliminate dangerous driving habits, reduce traffic congestion, and curb injury to individuals. Well over 9,000 arrests are made for manslaughter, misdemeanors, felony drunk driving, and felony hit and run during an average year. The job of answering over 2 million requests a year for assistance 24 hours a day, every day, requires alert, trained, capable men. Young officers learn that there's the need for conscientious follow-through, leading to the solution and correction of each situation. If Traffic Bureau becomes an officer's assignment, he will learn that an important section is traffic education. This section, during an average year, gives approximately 500 safety talks to over 75,000 elementary school students, and nearly 700 driver education talks to 35,000 senior high school students. In case a young officer requests assignment to the Bureau of Corrections and he qualifies, he becomes part of a vast plan for secure and humane custody of imprisoned law violators. Within the Bureau of Corrections is the Jail Division, which maintains the main jail, the Central Jail, and acts in an advisory capacity to the 12 other Los Angeles jails. Over 175,000 persons in an average year are held in these facilities. Great care is taken in placing young officers in responsible positions. Every police officer is checked by his superior to establish his standing within the department by a permanent, semi-yearly evaluation report for the length of the officer's service. After 4 years of service, advancement through the ranks is possible. Promotional examinations are given every 2 years. Learning to be a better police officer never stops. Skilled officers are used as instructors.
Well, gentlemen, today this is a tactical deployment problem. I'd like to have you take notice of the 2 motorcycle officers, the 2 police cars here, and the F car. In this particular exercise today, we have a situation in which the policeman is shot, wounded by a suspect. The policeman is shot back, and the suspect has run, even though wounded, back between the houses here, run into about a 14-foot California link fence. Now, you, as the senior officer present at the scene, have to deploy the motorcycles, the equipment, and the personnel that are here today. So the particular purpose of this exercise is to deploy the men to effect the capture of this fleeing suspect, also to take care of the wounded officer, and to ask for the additional help. Are there any questions as to what's your function today?
This specialized training program, geared to increase an officer's effectiveness, pays special attention to the learning process through mock situations. Over 2,000 officers of advanced rank will take part in the in-service training during a year. The heart of the Los Angeles Police Department is in this new police building in the Civic Center. Here, officers aided by 1,400 civilian civil service employees operate an around-the-clock service. Headquarters for all of the 7 bureaus are here, and most of the operating personnel for 4 of these: detective, administrations, technical services, and the Personnel and Training Bureau. There are also the offices of the Board of Police Commissioners. Recognition as an alert, capable, highly trained officer will lead to areas of police work that are fascinating, stimulating, and rewarding. After 3 years, he may move into bureaus other than those he is assigned during the years of training. He may request an assignment to the Detective Bureau. Its primary function is the investigation of crime, recovery of property, and the apprehension of offenders. Specialized divisions are auto theft, burglary, pawn shop, forgery, homicide, and scientific investigation, which maintains a laboratory considered one of the very finest in the nation.
In modern police laboratories, instrumentation is now playing an important part of our everyday work. This particular instrument is known as our X-ray spectrometer. With this instrument, we are able to make our daily narcotic analysis of many drugs that would take several hours in approximately 20 minutes. We merely take our unknown drugs and place them in this instrument on a slide. Placing them in the instrument, it takes about 20 minutes to run off a graph. This being a typical graph, and by the typical peaks or the high peak areas, we are now able to identify our narcotics.
An officer may aim his sights for the Technical Services Bureau, which furnishes and maintains basic services necessary to all police activity. In this bureau is the Communications Division, which transmits and receives radio messages. It is the nucleus of a modern mobile force. Required transportation is maintained by the Motor Transport Division of the Technical Services Bureau. It maintains over 800 passenger cars, over 400 two-wheel, and over 100 three-wheel motorcycles, as well as over 80 trucks and buses. The Supply Division within this same bureau stores and distributes supplies. Transportation is one of its many responsibilities. The Property Division is responsible for articles recovered in normally 20,000 cases a year. 90% of the property involved is usually returned to persons entitled to its legal custody. The remaining division in the Technical Services Bureau is the Records and Identification Division, which processes records. 2,400,000 criminal records are maintained in the normal operation of this division. During a year, 900,000 criminal records are searched. The services supplied by the Technical Services Bureau indicate the need for outstanding men in every step of maintaining this high-geared efficiency. Each bureau plays an intense role to meet the demand of servicing an exploding population in the geographic maze of Los Angeles, and each of its operations must fit into an overall plan for the machinery to function smoothly. The planning, directing, coordinating, and controlling of this machinery is the job of 164 officers and 94 civilians, known as the Bureau of Administration. There is the Division of Internal Affairs, responsible for the investigation of allegations against officers. Each complaint processed by this division is completely examined before a final report is made. There is the Public Information Division, which acts as a police public relations agency, and it publishes Beat, a monthly magazine, issues press passes, and conducts tours of the Police Administration Building. The Intelligence Division within the Bureau of Administration is concerned with observing individuals connected with organized crime. There's a Business Office Division, which acts as the emergency command post and is the control center for incoming and outgoing messages. It serves as the public information center and aids an average of more than 100,000 persons a year seeking assistance.
And this is my box. Hi. See ya.
Hey, Mike. Could you tell me where Union Station is?
Yes, sir. If you'll walk north on Los Angeles Street to the end of the street, Sunset, turn right, go right down the depot, 800 North Alameda. Yes, sir.
Where is the district attorney's office?
In the Hall of Justice, Temple and Broadway.
Temple and Broadway. Thank you.
I've been sent in here to look at photographs of suspects for a robbery. Where do I go?
Talk to the detectives in room 327 on the third floor.
327, thank you.
Third floor, and you take the elevator right here to the left.
Yes, thank you very much.
Administrative Vice coordinates enforcement and arrest activities throughout the 14 patrol divisions in organized or commercialized vice. Planning and Research conducts constant research on police problems to make recommendations for improving methods and procedures. To stay ahead of the problem in an ever-changing world where the tempo of change is increasing, new methods and the updating of old ones becomes a major issue for the police departments. One of the answers is capable, dedicated men. Men who will know their responsibility to the departments and to the community. These are the kind of men youngsters look up to. Youngsters walk a fine line sometimes between right and wrong. Keeping these boys on the right side, in some cases, is a personal achievement during off-duty hours for many officers. Organized car clubs, Boy Scouts, baseball teams are some of the means used. These are the kind of men in the Los Angeles Police Departments. One man who has played an important role in raising the Los Angeles police officer to a professional status is Police Chief William Parker. He has been able to create divisions within the department to deter the Los Angeles rising crime rate. He's a tireless public speaker about his beliefs, and he has a one-track determination to have honest men with dignified status on the force. The Los Angeles Police Department, through years of self-evaluation and constant improvement, has raised itself to a high professional standing in the community. To fit this status, men are sought with qualifications that in all areas of police work can become highly skilled experts. The young man industry seeks to fill shoes of executives are the same young men needed by the police department. The inducement isn't money, it's service, but the reward is sometimes far greater. The great esprit de corps in the Los Angeles Police Department comes from the knowledge each man has been chosen to serve and protect. He had what it takes to be that 25th man.